everyone to our series that we've been doing, a podcast series on entrepreneurial universities. My name is Sarah Steinberg, and I'm a senior advisor at myFootpath. myFootpath is a company that is very dedicated to re-engaging students who have stopped out. And, nowadays, I think the latest figure is there's something like close to 50 million students across the country who fall in that category of having some amount of credits, but they just don't have the final credential that they were seeking. So I've spent more than 30 years in higher education and working with adult students. And this is an area that I'm very interested in. And so the synergy with myFootpath is great. And the fact that they've been able to really impact undergraduate enrollment by like 3 to 5% with the work that they're doing with partner universities. So it's quite impressive and addresses the topic. And so I am so excited, Dawn, to have you as a guest on this series. And I know you know this, but our audience doesn't know that you are the vice president for enrollment management at Oakland University. And I'm going to ask you in a minute to give an overview of the university, just so people know and what it's about, and especially the fact that it is not located in Oakland, California. I think that was the very first thing that I learned, which was great. And I know you have a real passion for enrolling and supporting adult students. And so that's what we'll talk about. So I'd like to turn it to you to introduce yourself and to talk a little bit about your university. And then we'll get into some questions that will highlight the really interesting and innovative work that's going on at your university. And I look forward to learning more. Take it away.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited to talk with you today and about my experience working at Oakland University, which is located in Rochester, Michigan, not in Oakland, California, or Rochester, New York, or Rochester, Minnesota, but in the heart of what we call the Metro Detroit area. And Oakland is a mid-sized public university. Nearly 16,000 students are enrolled this time. We offer both undergraduate and graduate programs. And we are one of the public universities in Michigan that I believe are very adult-friendly, and that we attract and we retain and graduate more adult students, which includes those students that actually stop out and then return to complete their education. So I share your passion in working with adult learners to make sure that they can actually accomplish what most adult learners who start school, they want to actually finish and complete and earn that degree. And I know that there has been a lot of discussion in higher ed about how do we attract students that are some college no degree, for example, and transfer students and those lifelong learners that might life gets in the way and they sometimes stop and want to then re-engage with us. And sometimes it's challenging for them to do that. Sometimes our institutions has some barriers that need to be lifted to make it a better experience. So at any rate, I'm excited to talk with you today about some of the work that we're doing at OU and even in my region, because I think, universities definitely can lift barriers, but we also need to work within our communities as well.
That is a great point, and I don't want to leave that topic dangling. So we're going to return to that thought of what other partners you have in this, or I know over the years, one of the terms that I love to use when the partners are actually other universities is co-opetition. which I think is a great word for higher ed because we really do, like to work with each other, but in some sense we're in competition, but we just want to get the student, I know you believe this as well, want to get the student into the right place for them, and that may or may not be your own institution.
It's
So,
so true.
yeah.
I love that term, but it is definitely something I believe in, and working with our partners, other higher ed partners and employers, and sometimes philanthropy. And for us, our Detroit Regional Chamber, for example, through Detroit
Mm.
Drives Degrees, and then even in Oakland County, our Oakland 80 partnership, where we're working on achieving college completion goals together.
That is great. Can you, might as well go down this path just a little bit more. Is there any particular partnership that you'd like to highlight? Anything that comes to mind as being, exceptionally strong at addressing this issue of reaching adult students who want to return?
Definitely. Well, I was really excited in 2019 when the Detroit Regional Chamber, through our Detroit Drives Degrees Council, approached Oakland University, Wayne State University, and Henry Ford Community College to actually launch an initiative where we would welcome back stop out students and actually provide them with grants, which supported their ability to return. And that
Hmm.
included, for all institutions, those that the students owed money. So they had some debt to the university. And Oakland actually took it a step further. We actually awarded grants to those who didn't owe the university money, but we know that financially sometimes there was a barrier for them to return. And so we all created programs, including some support services that welcome them back to the university. And we actually did it in a very collaborative way. And we eliminated the barrier of transcripts, for example, because a lot of students have transcript
Hmm.
holds when they owe money to your university. So we signed an
Yeah.
agreement which allowed us to release transcripts to each other. So if the student wanted to go back to Wayne State, or if they wanted to go to Henry Ford, or they wanted to go back to Oakland, that together we were working to create an ecosystem that was friendlier to those students. And for us, our initiative is called Golden Grizzlies Graduate. And this initiative, which I really was, it was both about welcoming and being inclusive to those adult learners who had stopped, interrupted their educational journey, and really helping them get back on that path to student success to earn their degree. And, if there was financial constraints or personal challenges, other life circumstances, we tried to help the students navigate that, and help them see that maybe they could explore another uh, academic program that might have been different than the one they had originally pursued. We helped them, remove barriers by showing them how the university had changed. So, for example, if they were one of our students and they had stopped out at Oakland, or maybe how we were different than another partner, and showed them other resources that they could utilize. And then what was great is our Detroit Drives Degrees partners also have position that could help reconnect those students, help them navigate and look at other resources as well. So it was really creating that community, that culture that said, we want you to come back, we want you to finish, and we are changing, and we're working together to make sure this time you're able to be successful in earning that degree. Or it could be a credential, for example, if they wanted to earn a credential at the community college, for example.
Do you know whether it also ended up creating opportunities for the different institutions to collaborate academically so that, there would be maybe a joint degree program or at least credits that could transfer from one school to the other?
Yeah, a lot of discussion had already been happening, especially with the community colleges to the universities, but uh, many of the publics in Michigan, our university credit transfers
Mm.
pretty easily to the other university, obviously if we have the same program. But we did have those conversations about credit for prior learning, for example. And that's another initiative I'll tell you we're working with the Detroit Regional Chamber, with Detroit Drives Degrees, is to make sure we all are friendlier and that we're looking at our credit, our prior learning credit policy, and then
Mhm.
what our practices are. So I'll definitely tell you, we are continuing to work on that. I think for us at Oakland, that's a priority. And I know my colleagues, for example, at Henry Ford, Wayne State, and others, we have many other universities and community colleges that are part of Detroit Drives Degrees, are really building a coalition and looking at how do we strengthen that regionally. So that way, again, adult learners really feel like we're supporting them through, and we're recognizing the work that they've done in many cases out in in their fields, right? That we can actually honor that and count that for credit. And of course, many of us have other credits, for example, military credit, CLEP credit, for example. Most of us, I think, in those three areas or those three institutions were already giving credit for that. But a lot of times, too, students don't know, right? They don't know what they don't know.
They
And
don't know
we
what they
need
don't
to,
know. Yep.
right? And we have to help and explain, like, listen, ask the right questions, and hopefully remove another barrier by letting them know, like, oh my goodness, you could actually get credit for this experience, and this is the way to do that.
That sounds like a phenomenal program. And two questions come to mind. What contribution does Detroit itself have to this? Are they, uh, is it a marketing kind of contribution and awareness in the community, helping to spread the word, or other
Yeah,
things
well,
that they do?
yeah, those are good questions. So Detroit Drives Degrees has helped us, and a lot of it is we garnered a lot of national attention when we first launched this initiative. Both Wayne State's program and Oakland University Golden Grizzly Graduate and Henry Ford's programs gained some national attention. And then for us, we share data and
Hmm.
we talk about successes, and we also talk about challenges and how we need to improve that. We've been able to work actually with Detroit Drives Degrees to hire a third party to help us actually re-recruit the stop out students and have agnostic coaches that work for us regionally, where some universities might have a third party partner that just works exclusively with their university. So we were able to secure a grant together to work
Wow.
together to do that. And again, you're creating that culture. It sometimes can take adult learners a little while before they're ready to return. It can sometimes take a year or so or more, right, for
Yep.
them to have the confidence in the institutions. They might have to adjust plans, like with their work schedule, their family life schedule, and then the financial planning. So for us to work with a party that is good at doing that, like in myFootpath, I know is another organization that also offers services to universities or even to what I would consider a compact for a community to work together. So I think that can be a great pathway for communities to take together if you're really serious about reaching the students that are some college no degree and helping them see we are here, we want to help you, and we recognize that there were some barriers, there were some things that contributed to their stopping out. And we've got to show them that some things have changed and that we're going to actually support them all the way through to graduation And, for some students, they're really excited about it. They didn't know a lot of things about maybe our academic programs that we offer, night programs, or maybe a hybrid or an online class, or that we actually, have tutoring available after 5 p.m. or again, in some online format, and
Exactly.
it fits their lifestyle, right? And I think they're very excited to, uh, you know, to learn things that, quite frankly, were, not part of their original experience at our institution or even a partner institution.
Yeah, I mean, you've covered so many interesting things, starting with the idea that these are institutions that are collaborating, so you can learn from each other what's working, what's not, and as you said, find the best fit for the student as they're coming back into the sort of academic environment. But the other thing that you touched on, which I think is so important, and personally, I've written about this because I think that a lot of universities still don't fully appreciate the special support needs that adult students require. And you mentioned, you just rattled off a whole bunch of special support, obviously hours after 5:30, duh. Um, you rattled off a whole bunch of things that you guys have figured out, which is why I put you in the category of an entrepreneurial university. It's not just how business always was run for traditional students. It's different for adult students, and those support services are so important. Um, let's circle back for a second to the beginning of the funnel. So there are these students who are out there who left, and the highest sort of most popular reason that students leave is financial reasons,
Yes.
one type or another. But in your work with these students, have you encountered other reasons that they stop out, uh, in addition to the financial, situation that they might find themselves in?
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, finance is one of the largest barriers that students have faced, and that has led to their decision to pause or to stop out. I think sometimes if they don't see how their academic program is helping them get to that next step, if they don't feel it's flexible for their life, then that will cause them to pause because they are investing their time and their money. So to me, if students don't have, course formats, especially we learned this after the pandemic, because a lot of other universities are offering hybrid online, different parts of term, right? Not always a traditional 16-week course format. I feel like a lot of students, felt like this academic journey was not for them,
Mm.
because they were if they're working, for example, full time or even part time, and balancing, maybe they're taking care of a family member. It could be their parents, right? It could be children. It could be another family member. We always say life gets in the way, right? And folks are sometimes feeling really compelled, like I have to do this right now, and I'm going to pause my education. And especially if they're working a job, and if their employer, even if their employer sometimes has benefits for them, they sometimes don't know if it's really going to be worth it. So, in my opinion, too, we have to show them, and working with employers, you can show them that it is worth it to get that degree, and how it can help them sometimes even grow in the profession they're working in the job that they're working in, or it's good to show them a pathway. Maybe they need to change that. But I found students had a bad experience, right, in their first college
Yep.
journey, and it jarred them. It rattled them. They didn't feel like college was for them. So, the universities like Oakland and like some of my other partner universities, when we can show them it is for them, and this is a community, this is a where we see you and we want to meet you where and help you. To me, they see that as we're helping lift some of those barriers. Um, Credit for prior learning, as I've already talked to, I think many students want us to recognize that they have diverse experiences and they bring those to our campus. And we need to offer those opportunities for students to earn credit for prior learning, including their work experience, their military service, and other professional trainings, and help them accelerate their path to graduation, but also validate the valuable skills and knowledge that they've gained outside of the classroom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could share, you don't have to share specific numbers, of course, but uh, anything that would indicate what kind of success you and your partner schools have seen now with um, bringing students back and leading them towards graduation. Do you have students, for example, that are graduates through the Golden Grizzlies program who have now graduated?
Yeah,
No, I
definitely.
wasn't sure
Yeah,
where
definitely.
you were in that process.
Sure. And like I said, we've welcomed back close to 500, actually probably about 550 students into the Golden Grizzlies Graduate Program, and we're nearly to 300 students that will have graduated after this
Wow.
term. So we're very excited
Wow.
about that. I do want to also acknowledge that some of our students are those that were having barriers and that were enrolled and were close to graduation. But when we looked at data, we saw some of the signs that they could stop out. And
Right.
most of those are adult learners as well. So it's not all stop outs, because Golden Grizzlies Graduate actually helps those students that are close to graduation that need help. And most of those students, for example, have exhausted their financial aid, as an example. And we know from our research, all the partners looking at barriers, many students stop attending, right, when they don't have the financial wherewithal to continue. And
Yep,
as you
for
might
sure.
know from your research, right, some students, especially if they went at traditional age, financial aid, you have to maintain a certain number of credits and you have to have a certain GPA, SAP, right? A lot of those students find themselves in a situation where they can't continue. So when they come back, maybe they don't owe money, but they are seeing, wow, tuition is this amount. I'm working, I have a family. How am I going to do this? So again, when our team can help them with a completion grant, that really usually helps them see that we're helping lift that financial barrier. And then we also connect them to other resources. One of the exciting things that we've been able to do is work with our Oakland 80 group, and our Oakland County executive actually spearheaded a new initiative that set the county goal for college completion at 80% of our residents having a credential by 2030. And
Wow.
they knew of our work through Detroit Drives Degrees and invited us into their Oakland 80 community. And they have navigators who also work in our county. And we allow their navigator, we welcome their navigator under our campus to actually have office hours and meet with community members, which many are students that stopped out, some college,
Fabulous.
no degree, adult learners,
Right.
and they have great resources which include grants for childcare, for example, um, grants for books, and then actual scholarships for tuition. So to me, it's very powerful when we can combine our efforts to help our residents, and we're located in Oakland County, to come back to school and to finish. So that's another, again, when you're changing an ecosystem, they're great to work with. Our Oakland County executive and the team. We work with Michigan Works, for example, too, and we try to utilize resources, together to help these students see that we can help, alleviate some of the financial barriers, some of the childcare challenges, right? And help them earn that degree.
Yeah, you just hit one of the things that I was just about to ask you, which is how does the state of Michigan step in to help these students with their financial burdens? And it sounds like they also have some resources, financial resources available that
They
you can help them
they
step
do.
into.
Yeah. Yeah, our statewide program, you might have heard of, Michigan Reconnect. And then earlier we had something called Futures for Frontliners. They are instrumental in supporting OU's efforts to help adult earners return to school and complete their degrees. And these grants really have provided vital financial assistance and resources that make higher ed more accessible to adult learners, and it aligns, with our own mission to promote inclusivity and student success. And Michigan Reconnect originally was designed to help in-district community college tuition for Michigan residents, I think age 25 and older. They've expanded, I think, down to 21-year-olds that don't have a college degree. So that was huge. And then during the pandemic, they had a future for frontliners, and that was really in response to helping folks that were frontline workers that were in essential industries during the pandemic and helping them to earn a college degree. So these pathways just have been amazing. And for us, it helped folks think about coming back to college. And we're definitely seeing, especially the community college enrollment increase. And then just recently, you've probably heard, we have free community college tuition for our last two cohorts of graduating high school students. So to me, we're really trying to change that culture and
Yep.
help students see that there's a pathway for them, and having state assistance for our residents is wonderful. And, for us then to work with the community colleges to show that there's a pathway to a 4-year degree and sometimes an advanced degree. And as you know, some students don't think that that's for them. And we're able, again, to remove a financial barrier and address some of those other barriers. And it's amazing, watching what has happened in folks' lives. And to me, it's one of the best days of the year when I see what our Golden Grizzly graduates, they wear their stoles and they cross the stage, and
Yep.
the pride with them and their families. I'm getting teary thinking about it because
No, I
it's
know. I've
pretty,
been there.
yeah, it's
Been
pretty
there, I know.
incredible. And when you listen to the stories from the
Yep.
students and their families, it's incredible.
It is incredible. I think there have been a lot of studies now on that very issue that students who graduate in that manner influence and sometimes they are more motivated to influence their children and other family members. That motivates them to finish as much as potentially getting a better job or, getting a promotion, which are also great motivators. But sometimes the strongest motivator is just to show your kids that this is something that's possible. And those are the
Definitely.
greatest stories. Um, I wanted to ask you a question back on sort of academic programming, I noticed that you had a Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies. And I was just wondering,
Yeah.
did that come about as part of the attention that you were giving to students who, you know, maybe they came in for some particular degree, but that's not working, but they have
Yeah.
broad interests, and what really will help them is getting a bachelor's degree, and the interdisciplinary studies can cover a lot of interests. Did that come about because of that, or did you already have that degree in place?
We actually had it, but I will tell you, it's become more popular and it's very attractive to adult learners and to those students that have taken a pause and now want to return. So, for us having the Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies, it is really designed to accommodate the diverse needs of adult learners and students and how they can complete their degree efficiently. And especially for somebody who might have done some coursework several years ago and they might not want to pursue that original major. So our faculty and staff in that program can help do a highly customizable um, curriculum, basically, that aligns with their personal interest and career goals. And it's really ideal, as I said, for those that have accumulated college credit but haven't completed, the traditional degree path. So when you integrate the credits from the different disciplines and then you offer options for online, maybe evening or a hybrid course, and then the actual support services, we have incredible academic advising and faculty in that program. They understand that sometimes somebody might have to do a virtual appointment, or if they prefer an in-person appointment, they'll be flexible. It won't necessarily be, during the traditional business hours of the university. So they're wonderful at accommodating busy schedules, and they really make it easier for students to progress toward the degree without sacrificing their work and family commitments. So that's a wonderful program. And then I will tell you, I'm very excited to see some changes in some of our other academic areas. And for example, our Bachelor of Social Work, we have night and hybrid courses are offered. Our communication program also has a lot of evening courses and some online. Our Bachelor of BSN, our Bachelor's of Nursing, we have a completion sequence that is also very good for those that have an RN degree maybe and then want to finish. And that is completely online and they can do it in just a year. And it's an all-in price. I'll tell you that. Our business administration program is also, I think, very good at offering some options, both some online courses and hybrid in person. And then our environmental health and safety. This program, we also have expanded both online and in person. So those are great, I think, programs that lead to great jobs. And, to me, our faculty, the conversations that I try to have with our provost, our deans is, we have to show our commitment to providing flexible student-centered pathways to degree completion for those with complex lives and schedules, right? Our students are not all traditional students that might have had an experience like some of our administrators. But at Oakland, I will tell you, we have a lot of first generation administrators. I actually have some deans that were transfer students, some that have stopped out. Our registrar, we tease her. She said she was a beauty school dropout. She was a transfer. She was some college, no degree. She kind of stopped out. And the cool thing about her experience is she really relates to these students. She understands, and she's a great advocate, Trisha Westergaard, for adult learners. And she really tries to help challenge our staff and faculty about why are we doing things this way? Could we do things? Could we look at things differently? How do we remove that barrier? She's one example. I have many other faculty and staff who understand we have to be different than we were even, a few years ago.
Yep, exactly. And all the things that you've mentioned and this discussion has just been so rich and covered so many different aspects that support the research that I've done on entrepreneurial universities. It's got to come from, as you've said, you've used this word a number of times, the whole ecosystem needs to be on the same page. And that includes the faculty and the staff and, the leadership of the university. All need to be understanding what needs to happen for the student success and willing to part from the traditional ways, which again, you've given numerous examples of that as well at Oakland, that you've departed from the traditional ways, and that those are true signals of universities that aren't just changing because COVID happened or some other external thing made them. No, this is, built in and ingrained in your culture. And I can very much see that. So oh man, we could talk forever on this. And I just want to be super mindful of your time and just wrap up with one more question for you. Looking
Sure.
to the future, as you're looking ahead, is there anything you want to share that is on your plate or an area that you're thinking of that you want to go do more? The list that you're already doing is overflowing with, as I said, overflowing with richness, but perhaps you've even got more things up your sleeve that you'd like to mention. So I'll let you have the last word on that, if you'd like to mention anything
Sure.
that's coming up or just something you wanted to highlight.
Definitely. Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk about a newer upcoming initiative. And for us, we're continuously exploring new initiatives to better support returning students and enhance the overall enrollment. But one of our upcoming initiatives is the redesign of an ecosystem for first generation students. And we've already received several grants to assist in the development of a support system for first generation students, to support them both inside and outside the classroom. And similarly to what we've done with Golden Grizzlies Graduate, we want to really have a high touch engagement approach, making it easier for first gen students to find the assistance they need to remain connected in university life. And we already started several years ago collecting data on students who identify as first gen and giving them a common definition. So that way we knew we could kind of track their experience. But we just received a grant from MyLeap, another Michigan grant, and we're in the early stages of developing this new ecosystem. And a lot of it's going to be working closely with our faculty and staff on our early alert system. And we'll also be talking about other ways we can scale the experience. And I say first gen, and first generation students can come into the university from high school. They can come in, from a community college. They could be adult learners. So we're really excited about that. The other thing is I'm very, very thrilled about our graduate school and our undergraduate education leadership working on micro-credentialing and certificate programs aimed at adult learners and working professionals looking to upskill or transition into new careers. And again, I think shorter, more flexible programs that can be stacked toward a degree, providing manageable entry points for those who might not be ready to commit right to the traditional degree program immediately. We're going to offer more of these. So we want a range of in-demand skills and industry recognized credentials. So those are really being worked on right now. And we're excited. And then working more with corporations and community partnerships. So I've been talking about what we've been doing in Detroit Drives Degrees, in Oakland 80. We've got to engage our local employers and community organizations. Sometimes our potential community members don't even know their employer would support them to go back or to even start a degree. So it's important, I think, that they're partners in these educational pathways. And then there's a lot of research on employees that are engaged and supported by their employer. They will have higher employee retention.
Right.
They'll have more loyalty, right? It changes their work ecosystem as well. So to me, these partnerships will really help working adults, and then it will help, our local economy, right? It's a win-win for really everybody. So I could probably talk more, but
I have
you
no
know,
doubt that you have more things up your sleeve that
yeah,
you could share. So we'll have to be in touch again because
yes.
it's just been so much fun talking to you and learning about all the things that are going on at Oakland University. So Dawn, I really appreciate you joining this conversation, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you so
So
much, Sarah. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing and myFootpath is doing as well. So it was wonderful to talk to you. And I look forward to joining you again, or maybe another colleague from one of our collaborations as well.